My name is Ethan Hale. I'm 29 years old, and this is the story of how I went from being called a pathetic loser to inheriting $50 million hidden under a rotting cabin in Alaska. Growing up, I was never the favorite. My younger brother Caleb was the golden child, the athlete, the charmer, the one my parents pinned their hopes on. My father, Arthur, believed he was the son to carry on the Hale name. My mother, Mary Ann, was softer, but she never challenged his choices. Caleb was the pride. I was the afterthought. Even the woman I loved, Rachel, saw me that way. At first she said I had heart, but slowly her words shifted. Why can't you be more like Caleb? Why can't you aim higher? Then came the will. My father passed from a stroke, my mother soon after, and Caleb and I sat in the lawyer's office to hear their final words. Caleb received the mansion in New York, worth over $800,000, along with most of the assets. I got the deed to a wooden cabin in the middle of Alaska. No explanation, no balance, just a mansion for Caleb and a shack for me. That night, Rachel exploded. She threw her engagement ring on the table and spat the words that would haunt me. "You are a pathetic loser, Ethan. You always have been." She slammed the door, and in 1 week, I had lost my parents, my fiancée, and any illusion that I mattered. For days, I carried the deed in my pocket, staring at it like it was a curse. But eventually, something inside me shifted. If this was what my parents thought I was worth, I had to see it for myself. So I bought a one-way ticket to Alaska. The cabin was worse than I imagined. Sagging roof, broken windows, the smell of mold. It looked like the kind of place you'd leave to someone you wanted to forget. I sat in the dust and whispered, "This is what they thought of me." That night, lying on a broken bed frame with Rachel's insults echoing in my head, I felt like the most worthless man alive. But the next day, while clearing debris, I pulled up a dusty rug and found an iron ring set into the floor, a hidden panel. My heart pounded as I lifted it, revealing wooden steps descending into darkness. Flashlight in hand, I went down. The cellar was cold, lined with crates and chests. I pried one open and froze. Inside was a bundle wrapped in cloth. I unrolled it and gold coins spilled into my hand. Heavy, real, gleaming through the dust of decades. Another crate held jewelry, rings, necklaces, brooches, each sparkling like fire. The air left my lungs. I opened chest after chest, each filled with treasure. Tens of millions, maybe more. And in the corner, an old trunk. Inside, brittle ledgers, documents, maps, proof of mining rights, timber claims, and land stretching back generations. This wasn't junk. This wasn't rejection. This was a legacy. For the first time, I realized my parents hadn't chosen Caleb. They had chosen me. Days later, while combing through the ledgers, I found a folded envelope. My name was written on it in my mother's hand. With shaking fingers, I opened it. Ethan, if you are reading this, it means your father and I are gone. What we have left you is not a mistake, it is trust. Caleb is bold but reckless. You are patient, resilient, and strong in ways he is not. We knew you would protect this legacy. Please forgive us. We love you." The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. For years, I believed I was nothing, and here, in my hands, was proof that I was everything. But with that truth came danger. If Caleb found out, he would demand it. If Rachel heard, she'd crawl back, pretending she believed in me. I vowed in that moment, I will protect this. I will not waste it. I will prove them right to trust me. Caleb kept calling, mocking me. "How's life in your shack, Ethan?" He laughed. I stayed silent, letting him believe his lie. Rachel messaged too. "I miss you. Let's talk." I deleted it without a word. She hadn't missed me. She had smelled money. I worked day and night, cataloging the treasure, patching the cabin, turning ruin into refuge. Every nail I hammered, every window I fixed, was me reclaiming my life. My father once said I lacked drive. My brother called me weak. Rachel called me pathetic. But each insult only fueled me. The cabin was no longer a punishment. It was proof. And as I sat by the fire one night, my mother's letter in my hands, I finally understood. They hadn't abandoned me. They had entrusted me with everything. For the first time in my life, I felt chosen. So let me ask you, if you were handed a broken cabin, and inside it lay a fortune, what would you do? Would you flaunt it, or would you protect it? I took the long way home that night, walking miles on trails instead of driving. The woods were a cathedral of whispering trees and watchful eyes. I walked to clear my head, to think, but all I found was peace. Because there in the quiet, surrounded by towering giants, I understood something profound. I wasn't defined by Caleb's taunts, by Rachel's scorn, or by the mansion I hadn't received. I was defined by the quiet strength I found within myself. I had faced the loneliness, the doubt, and even the darkness of hidden treasure, and emerged whole. And that was worth more than any jewel or coin. By the time I returned, the sky was filled with stars. I sat on the porch steps, feeling the cool wood beneath me, and realized I wasn't alone. I had the memory of my parents, the legacy they believed in, and most importantly, myself. Yes, the cabin needed fixing, but so did I, and now I had the resources to mend both. As the weeks turned into months, the cabin transformed. Roof mended, windows sparkling, garden blooming. It went from eyesore to sanctuary, and in that sanctuary, I found more than a home. I found purpose. The ledgers, the maps, the very essence of my family's legacy rested in my care. It was a responsibility, sure, but also an honor. My parents hadn't left me a fortune to squander. They'd left me a legacy to uphold. And as I sorted through it all, I knew I wouldn't let them down. Now, some might have stumbled with such a fortune, blown it on wild spending or risky investments. But I wasn't like them. I was methodical, careful, strategic. I hired local experts to assess the mines, the timber, the land. I pored over my parents' ledgers, learning their business, their values, their vision. Was it easy? No. Did I make mistakes? Of course. But I learned from them, adapting, adjusting, evolving. I was young, inexperienced, but with each passing month I grew more confident. The fear of losing it all, the pressure of upholding my parents' legacy, it pushed me, sharpened me, made me hungrier to learn. Today, looking back, I realize it wasn't just about money. It was about growth, about proving not only to others but to myself that I could handle this, that I could thrive with it. I paid off the mortgage on the cabin, invested in its future, turned it into a haven that my parents would have recognized. As for the rest, well, I diversified, following my parents' blueprint. I put some in low-risk investments, some in local ventures that I believed in, and some I set aside, just in case. But I didn't flaunt it. No fancy cars, no designer clothes, no parties I couldn't afford. I lived simply, but I gave back. I funded local projects, helped neighbors in need, all while keeping my day job. Because for me, work wasn't just about money. It was about purpose, about building something of my own. In time, the sting of my brother's words faded. The memory of my parents' trust took its place. And Rachel? She faded into a memory, a cautionary tale of what happens when you chase the wrong things. These days, when I sit on my porch watching the Alaskan sun dip below the mountains, I know I've come home. Not just to a place, but to myself. This cabin isn't just a house. It's a testament to resilience, to quiet strength, and to the power of believing in yourself when no one else does. It took me stumbling through a hidden cabin in Alaska to find that strength. but maybe that's the point. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to realize how much you have inside you. So if you're out there doubting yourself, know this: you have more than you think. You just have to dig a little deeper to find it. And when you do, it won't be gold or jewels, but something far more valuable: your true self. That's all for today. See you next time.